Mankind has dug some pretty deep holes. Today's video, narrated by Zach, is on the top 5 deepest holes ever dug.
Number 5. Chuquicamata Copper Mine, Chile. Chuquicamata Copper Mine, better known as Chuqui, is located just outside the city of Calama in northern Chile. It is run by the largest copper producer in the world, Codelco. Copper has been mined here for a long time. In fact, a mummy dated about 550 AD has been found at Chuquicamata. Chuqui hole has grown slightly since those days. It's 3.5 miles long, 2.5 miles wide, 2,790 feet deep, and it is the largest open pit mine in the world and one of the deepest holes ever dug into the earth. Chuquicamata Copper Mine is one of the most productive copper mines, having produced more than 500,000 tons of copper a year. Recently, Codelco announced a major overhaul to the mine to the tune of $4.8 billion. The goal is to turn the mine into an underground facility. Number 4. The Bingham Canyon Mine, Utah. The Bingham Canyon Mine is located in the Oquirrh Mountains southwest of Salt Lake City, Utah. It's 2.5 miles wide and around 3,200 feet deep. It's considered to be the world's largest man-made excavation that astronauts can see from outer space. The Bingham Canyon Mine is also the most productive copper mine in the world. There are basically tons and tons of copper and other raw material that have been extracted from the mine. This mine was opened all the way back in 1906 and is currently owned by Rio Tinto. Bingham Canyon Mine was also the site of a massive and unusual landslide in April 2013. It shifted basically millions of cubic meters of dirt and rock. Fortunately, nobody died because they've already had installed detectors around that would actually warn them when the land becomes unstable. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe to our channel with notifications on. Number 3. The Berkeley Pit, Montana. The Berkeley Pit is located in the city of Butte, Montana. Mining began in 1864, and by the end of the century, the copper produced from the Butte Hill, called the richest hill on Earth, not only electrified America, but also financed the Industrial Revolution. By the 1950s, millions of pounds of ore had been extracted from the Butte Hill. By then, the ANACONDA company determined that conventional mining techniques were no longer a cost-effective way to extracting the ore. Plans to enlarge the open pit along Butte's east side surfaced in 1952. Digging in the open pit began in 1954, and 1 year later, the first load of ore was shipped to the nearby town of Anaconda for smelting. In 1963, the ANACONDA company completed construction on a multi-million-dollar facility to concentrate nearly 45,000 tons of ore each day. The pit grew to become not only the largest truck-operated open pit mine in the United States, but also the richest copper mine. Approximately 1.4 billion tons were extracted from the Berkeley Pit. In 1977, the Atlantic Richfield Company purchased the pit along with several other mining operations from the ANACONDA company. By 1982, the price of copper had fallen so much that the Berkeley Pit was shut down. On April 20th, 1983, the decision was made to turn off the pumps that were diverting water from the pit and other underground mine shafts. The Berkeley Pit is more than 7,000 feet long, 5,600 feet wide, and more than 1,800 feet deep. Number 2. Kimberley Diamond Mine, South Africa. Kimberley Diamond Mine is also known as the Big Hole, is located in the city of Kimberley in the Northern Cape province of South Africa. It was here where a geological pipe was formed after a breakthrough of gases in the Earth's crust. This pipeline, like others in the region, was named Kimberlite after the location. It has the shape of a huge carrot or a wine glass. Its upper part is a giant conical upswell, narrowing as it goes deeper, eventually becoming a vein in the end. It was the discovery of alluvial diamonds in the latter part of the 19th century that put this corner of the globe on the map, setting off the greatest diamond rush the world has ever known. About 50,000 people were mining, and they managed to extract over 20 million tons of soil with just shovels and picks. Digging such a big hole by hand was a rather dangerous process. The conditions were unsanitary. It was too hot and there was little fresh water. These conditions caused the deaths of many miners during the digging. The big hole is 463 meters, or 1,519 feet wide, and 240 meters, or 705 feet deep. From 1871 to 1914, the miners had extracted about 2,722 kilograms, 6,000 pounds, or 13,600,000 carats of diamonds. This largest hand-dug mine is exhausted nowadays and has become an artificial lake and the most picturesque landmark in Kimberley. The Kimberley mine site is now more like a museum where people can learn about the place and see what it looked like. Some people believe it should be registered as a World Heritage Site. A campaign to have the Big Hole registered began in 2000, as the Big Hole is the world's deepest hole dug by hand. Number 1. Kola Superdeep Borehole. Kola Superdeep Borehole, located in the Murmansk region, Russia, was drilled purely for research purposes. It was the attempt of the Soviet Union to explore the depths of the Earth's crust. Drilling began in 1970 in honor of the 100th anniversary of the birth of Lenin. After 9 years of continuous operation, the well broke the record of 9,583 meters, or 31,441 feet, held by the Berta Rogers oil well in Oklahoma. In another 11 years, the borehole reached a depth of 12,262 meters, or 40,230 feet. On the way down, the Soviets also found water and microscopic fossils several kilometers deeper than anyone had observed before. The hole was supposed to reach the depth of 13,500 meters, or 44,300 feet, in 1990, and an incredible 15,000 meters, or 49,000 feet, in 1993. However, further drilling was prevented by the 180 degrees Celsius, or 356 degrees Fahrenheit. These temperatures caused the rock to start to feel more like viscous plastic, and they didn't really have the proper tools to deal with that. Shortly after that, further drilling was deemed unfeasible, and it finally stopped in 1992. However, it wasn't until 1995 that the project officially ended due to financial difficulties and the lack of state support. The site has since been abandoned, and the borehole entry was permanently welded in 2012. The ruins of Kola Superdeep Borehole, however, are frequently visited by curious tourists from all over the world. Over the course of 24 years, the Soviets managed to drill through 1/3 of the Baltic continental crust, reaching rocks that were untouched for 2.5 billion years. Kola Superdeep Borehole is the deepest man-made borehole ever reached by drilling. As such, it earns a top spot on our list of the 5 deepest holes ever dug. Now, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. Number 1. The Mur Mine. Unlike the Kimberley mine, that has turned into an artificial lake, experts say that the development of another kimberlite pipe in Yakutia, Russia, will be carried out for at least another 30 years. The famous radiogram they transmitted about the discovery of kimberlite was coded with reference to the cultural notion of the pipeline of peace. The deposit's name, Mur, or the Peace in English, comes from it. Although the deposit was developed with the latest machinery, this was in severe climatic conditions. Miners had to blast the rock with dynamite to break through the permafrost. Until 2004, diamonds were extracted in open-pit mines. Quarry trucks wound for 8 kilometers along a spiral road from the bottom to the surface. Today, diamonds are extracted by constructing underground tunnels. The pit depth is 525 meters, or 1,722 feet in diameter, 1.2 kilometers, or 3,900 feet. Number 2. Woodingdean Water Well. Woodingdean Water Well is located in England, and it's the world's deepest hand-dug well. In 1858, some prisoners of correctional labor colony started digging it. All excavations were carried out by hand, and buckets with soil were lifted to the surface with a winch. After 2 years of hard work, the well was already 134 meters or 440 feet deep, but there was no water. It was then that they decided to dig horizontal mines in 4 directions. However, this also didn't give the desired result. Then workers decided to keep deepening one of the mines, which took another 2 years. People were working 24 hours a day digging and laying bricks in the stuffy and dark tunnels. Finally, in 1862, 4 years after work started, they reached the water. By that moment, the Woodingdean water well was 392 meters, or 1,286 feet deep, which makes it the world's deepest hand-dug well. Remember to subscribe to our channel with notifications on so you don't miss any of our videos.